Des Moines, and all of Central Iowa, welcome to Mac's World Live. Mac's World is your world. Every day we talk about the issues and topics that matter most to you. And as always, it's your voice we want to hear in Mac's World. So join the conversation by calling 515-244-0077. And now, here's the host of Mac's World Live, J. Michael McCoy.
All right, 6 minutes after the hour, 4 o'clock on this first day of December in the Lord's year 2015. I'm dating this show as we are going to share timely, pertinent information. So if you're listening to this on a best of show later on and you know that some of the facts have changed, I'm letting you know now that hopefully will be the case. I have to admit, I'm a little vigilante today. I care about this man. I care about his family. We don't really know each other, but the moment that I met you changed my life. Do you remember it? I know I do. Okay. And I'm talking about Craig Ellingson, Ellingson. Craig is born and raised here in Des Moines, owns a business here in town. His son, Brandon Ellingson, was a 2012 graduate of Valley High School, was a great athlete there. He was a tough kid, wasn't he? My guess is he didn't take any grief.
No, he was tough on the field.
Yeah. But a sweetheart off the field.
Yeah, good kid, everybody's friend.
He was a sophomore on academic scholarship at Arizona State. I always think it says something. Now, don't read the opposite end of this if you're listening to this. But I think it's always awesome, and I think it says something about an individual who has those athletic skills and talents, but has a scholarship based on how hard they work in the schoolroom, in the classroom. Because I'm sure he could have played for Arizona State had he wanted to, but he wanted to focus on his academic scholarship. And he was a sophomore down there. Now, you may be thinking, man, I know that name. Where do I know that name? It was Craig's son, Brandon, that was, and you jump in if I say something that is either alleged or isn't correct. Okay, Craig, you got to do that for me.
Okay.
He was detained.
Correct.
On the lake in the Ozarks.
Yes.
He was on a boat.
Yes.
He was detained, not arrested, or was he arrested?
Wasn't arrested yet.
Okay.
To my knowledge.
He was detained. They put handcuffs on him.
Behind his back.
And then allegedly improperly put his life vest on. Now, I'm saying allegedly because I'm behind this microphone.
Basically what they did, they had a buckled Type 3 life jacket.
The kind you'd wear like if you were skiing.
Yeah, and that's not meant to be used on a handcuffed person on the lake. And it was buckled. Brandon was a burly, muscular kid, and Officer Piercy, the officer who pulled Brandon over after leaving Coconut's bar with his 6 friends, just basically shoved it over the top of his shoulders, and the top buckle was hitting the top of his nose, so he looked really funny, and he was laughing at his friends because he had that smile, and he just felt like he looked goofy. So, but it was improperly put on.
And then, is it clear how Brandon ended in the water?
Basically, what happened is after he shoved the jacket over him, his arms were not through the hole. He sped off. They clocked him at doing on the GPS up to 46 mile an hour.
In a boat.
In a boat, a Donzi twin-engine boat, which is pretty light. This is May 31st of 2014, which is a Saturday evening around 5:15 at its busiest time on the weekend of that particular Memorial Day holiday. And there's tons of boats out. They're all heading, most people are heading back home getting ready to go out that night. Well, Piercy's speeding along. He passed up the Moreaus, who were witnesses. They were running around 32 mile an hour, and he went flying by them, and he noticed his speedometer. He was doing 32, he thought Brandon was like a videographer or something. He didn't know that he was handcuffed. And anyway, so basically that's what happened. And he hit a cruiser wake and going above 40 mile an hour. And from the GPS records, it looks like he, hit the wake wrong and slowed it down. And threw Brandon up into the bars, and he flew out of the
flew out of the boat.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Flew out of the boat. He was unable to maneuver himself at all in the water. Did the how soon did the sheriff know that he was no longer in the boat?
I'm not sure, but probably right away. They estimated that Brandon treaded water for about 4.5 minutes.
Okay.
And
but the sheriff did not jump in to get him.
No, he did not jump in. There was another boat that came up on Brandon. It was called the Playing Hooky boat. It was a bunch of girls at a bachelorette party. They saw him in the water, and they threw a life device to him. And wondered why he wasn't grabbing it, and he wasn't saying anything. So I think when he hit the Donzi boat, it's got bars in the front. I think it dazed him.
Okay.
Because when you're going that fast and you slam into something that hard,
yeah,
he was dazed, and they were wondering why he wasn't grabbing it. And finally, Piercy was trying to. He went by him twice and could have actually grabbed him and jumped in and held him. He didn't have his lights on his boat. He didn't call for help. He had a pole he grabbed, and he tried to hook Brandon with it. But he evidently, he said he was too far away. He couldn't get it. But he could have jumped in and got him, and then called for help because there was people around. And then he, 4.5 minutes, and
that's a long time.
Long time, yeah. And
when you got no arms.
Yeah, and he did not. He didn't have his lights on. He didn't have his SD camera cards in. They're probably in the bottom of the lake. And he wasn't asking for help. And there was people around that could have helped him. And he just basically pure negligence. And Brandon ended up drowning. Yeah.
Craig Ellingson is my guest today. He is the father of Brandon Ellingson, who died on May 31st, 2014 in the Ozarks. Why are we talking about this? Because the case hasn't been closed yet. I mean, think about this as a parent. Think about this as a classmate. The state, our government, who, yes, I'll be that guy, you work for me, has not yet given this family closure yet. And there are so many reasons why, which we'll talk about when we come back from the break. But I want you to think for just a moment about being in Craig's shoes, or you have a daughter also,
That's
right?
Correct. Yes.
And your wife, your ex-wife. Yep. You guys were a very close-knit family at that funeral.
Yes.
You were together. Hundreds of Brandon's friends from Valley and Arizona State came up, and here we are a year and a half later, and we don't have anything from our government. Now, I'm pissed. Pardon my language. It's my government. It's our government. It's not them. It's not like we're talking to the Mexican government or the Guadalupan government or the French government or our government in a state just to the south of us. Now, you're going to hear the details. Special prosecutors have failed. There's been calls for prosecutors to not be on the case. I don't know what happened to Piercy. I want you to tell me about that later. But what I want you to do, I am asking you to pray. This man, I don't think, has missed a Sunday in church. 8 o'clock every Sunday, there he is. And I just think, man, you talk about getting your faith tested. Not only do you lose your child, but your own government doesn't back you up and say anything about it. And they're not here for you. I can't imagine. Tom, we run your commercial with all your family up there. You've got 2 boys and 2 girls. And you've got, what, 37 grandchildren?
It seems like it.
And yet, can you imagine waiting a year and a half?
Yeah.
To find some, and Craig's just looking for something reasonable. Forget about the answer. Of course, I think we all know what the answer is. The facts show the answer. I have to be very careful here. There's an ongoing court case. I'm not going to put Craig or his family in a difficult position. I'm going to use words like alleged. That's out of respect. But you and I both know when we hear the words alleged, so many times as journalists especially, we're using them because some attorney out there has got his right ear right up to the radio right now, and he's just waiting for me to make a mistake. So he can file some judgment. He can file some complaint. He can do this or do that. Because no matter what, the people who are responsible for this don't want to take responsibility for it. Frank?
It's called CYA in the administrative world. It's cover your blank.
Yep, that's what they're trying to do. Well, hopefully this radio program, with your help through prayer and maybe reaching out, can maybe get these folks down in Mizzou to move a little bit. And maybe there's somebody local we can call. We'll talk to Craig later on what can be done by you, the listener. You, me, the citizen. You, me, the people. Okay? Because injustice is not God's way of doing anything. We have a God who justifies. We'll talk about the rest of it when we come back. We're live here on the first day of December in the Lord's year 2015. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and this is Mac's World with Tom Coates on 99.3. This is the truth.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can give these grandkids back if you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We can help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Whether you're 10, 25, 50, 80 years old and beyond, everyone needs to live within their means. I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America. For almost a quarter of a century, we've helped people of all ages learn to manage their personal finances to benefit them far into the future. When problems arise, we've got the experience you need to make those debt problems go away. Got financial problems? Call Consumer Credit of America.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
I to see your property bill tax.
I pay a lot of property tax.
I bet you do. All right, 21 minutes after 4 o'clock. On this, the first day of December in the Lord's year 2015, I'm J. Michael McCoy, and my guest today is Craig Ellingson. His son, Brandon, who was a 2012 graduate of Valley High School and a sophomore at Arizona State, died on May 31st, 2014 in the Lake of the Ozarks, where he was allegedly handcuffed, allegedly had a life preserver put on him, and he allegedly was thrown from the boat, fell from the boat, whatever, and he died. And I want to make it clear right now that Craig did not approach me to do this radio interview. I approached him. He did not call me. And if you had, I'd tell people that. I want them to know the truth. I approached Craig at church one Sunday, and it had been about a year, and I just had never heard your story. I mean, I heard the sound bites that the news stations had done, but I'd never heard the story from a father, and you were kind of his best friend. Mm-hmm. I mean, you guys were buddies.
Yeah.
And so that's why you're here today. And at any time you're uncomfortable or something, you just back away. Tom and I can tell Republican jokes or whatever. Okay. And Tom Coates is here as my co-host today, as he always is on Tuesday. All right. Don't you say anything. Don't let me put words in your mouth. And don't you say anything that could get anybody in trouble. But Officer Piercy, this is the officer that pulled your son over on the boat, 5:30 in the afternoon, busiest time of the lake, Saturday afternoon, Memorial weekend. Is he still in office? Does he still have a job?
Yes, he received 5 days off, and he still has his same position on the road. He's not on the water.
But he's on the road.
He's on the road.
And with his testimony, he'd like us to believe what? That he did everything correct, that he followed procedure, and that Brandon ending up in the lake was just a horrible, horrible accident that he or nobody else should be held responsible for. Now, those are my words.
Basically, I went to the inquest. It was a coroner's inquest. It was like 3 months after Brandon drowned. And he got up and testified. And I talked to it was about a 5-hour deal. And he testified for about an hour. And he basically said Brandon was very cooperative and had done everything he had asked. And he said he had a brain fart and put the wrong jacket on. And one thing I'll never forget him telling at the testimony, he pulled the same jacket out that he had on Brandon out of a box. And he pulled it out, held it up, and there was a strap there that was to go between your crotch to hook up to the top of your vest.
Yeah, so the vest would stay on the body.
Yeah. And it was the wrong vest, but if he would have used that, he'd be here today. But he knew that there was a crotch strap. So, but that was really stuck in my mind that
he purged himself.
I knew he was perjuring himself. Yeah. Exactly.
All right. Now, tell me the confusion, because I'm not clear. And by the way, and Tom, you can testify to this, Craig and I did not talk about this case whatsoever.
No, you did not.
Not yesterday, a week ago, a month ago, nothing. So I'm learning it at the same time you are. Wasn't there some deal with a special prosecutor or an attorney or somebody that got excused from the case, or something that even stretched it out even longer?
Yes, Amanda Grellner was the original county prosecutor of the case, and she, with Coroner Jones, put the inquest on. And you could just tell when I got down there, I flew down there, it was for September 4th, 2014, and I closed on my house that I had down there. I sold it. Anyway, I could just tell the whole thing was orchestrated, basically.
Yeah.
And she was on the case for a while. She supposedly was going to charge him with something. And then Sergeant Randy Henry, who's a whistleblower witness, supposedly had been saying things she said was blackmailing her because her son was involved in a rape case.
Okay.
Which was not investigated properly, and nobody was ever, I believe, charged in that. And so she recused herself and filed charges against Randy Henry for ethics violations. And so he was demoted and sent from the Lake of the Ozarks, which he was a 29-year vet, was in the Coast Guard for 5 years, and yet Piercy maintained his position.
And how was Randy Henry involved with what happened on the water?
Well, he basically talked to Piercy the night of the accident, and
okay.
he helped somewhat train Piercy a little bit on the water and had given him his go-ahead to drive the boat on the water, basically, just to be seen and go from point A to point B and be a show of force on the lake.
Did Randy Henry think he had properly trained Piercy?
Well, the training, Henry never trained Piercy. He basically rode along with him. Their training course used to be 28 weeks before the merger in 2011 that Governor Nixon, he took the Highway Patrol and the Water Patrol and merged it in 2011. When he did that, the training went from 28 weeks down to 4 weeks, and out went all accountability for, the training. It was just really pathetic. And that's basically what happened, why my son is not here today, because of the poor training.
Frank?
Is this the same, I assume you're talking Governor Nixon?
Exactly.
He's the same guy that was involved in the Michael Brown thing in Ferguson, right?
That's correct.
All right.
Say that again.
Michael Brown
in Ferguson, Missouri.
Yes.
That
I know that, but how's Nixon tied into that?
Well, Nixon was the governor, and obviously seems to have a pattern of mishandling these type of matters.
Authority matters. Tom?
Craig, one of the pieces that I'm missing, and I don't know any more than just what I've seen. You and I intentionally didn't talk before the show. What led up to the arrest or the apprehension of your son that he had him handcuffed in that fashion in the first place?
Yes, Brandon and his friends were at Coconut's Bar and Grill. It's a nice restaurant with a pool. And they were playing volleyball and drinking with some of their friends and drinking water. They'd had some beer, and they were playing volleyball with some friends from Waukee. And Piercy had been hanging out there watching them. And the owner of Coconuts went out and told Piercy, "Why don't you pull your boat up here and dock, because you're scaring our patrons away." And Piercy replied that he wasn't very good at docking his boat and he didn't want to do it, so he stayed out where he was at. So the next day, the guy from Coconuts was going to call. He had a call into Rocky Miller, complaining about Piercy scaring his patrons away because he was just hanging out there, waiting for people to leave. And what happened? Brandon and his friends got in the boat. I'd been down there a couple of weeks before, and I warned Brandon. I said, "You got to watch out. There's a lot of Water Patrol people out there, and they're just looking to get you." And I said, "You need to be careful." And he said, "I will, Dad." And so Brandon got on the boat and told everybody to shut up and sit down, and got their stuff all together, and they were just coasting out of the wake zone, slow wake, and then Piercy just jumped on them and pulled them over. They hadn't even got out of the wake zone yet, so
he was targeted.
Basically.
Did he do a sobriety test of some sort?
He did a eye sobriety test. He didn't do a PBI, they call it. He says he did, but he didn't do it.
PBI is a breathalyzer?
The boys that I talked to said he just did a finger test of his eyes.
Okay.
And then he took off. And he was going to finish up the test at their zone office at the Horny Toad.
That's where the zone office is.
That's where the zone office, and that's where the boys were going to meet him and pick up Brandon. They were going to fine him, basically, I guess, and then Brandon was going to be free to go.
What's the level of intoxication for driving down in Missouri with the boat?
I believe it's federally mandated. It's 0.8, I believe.
Yeah. Same thing. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's a federal. If you're going to get highway funds as a state, you have to be 0.08.
All right.
That's a Mothers of Drunk Drivers thing.
Yeah.
Do you believe he would have not passed that sobriety test?
I believed he would have passed. They said he was drinking a lot of water during that day, and he's 20 years old, and he was getting ready to go on a cruise for a business trip that summer. Mm-hmm. But when you're underwater, he was underwater for about almost a day. The experts have said that your blood alcohol content can rise up to as much as 3 times.
So they did an autopsy to determine his blood, and one of the things they would determine is his blood.
They did an initial blood test. It was right when they pulled him out. It was 0.24.
Boy.
Then they sent it off to St. Louis, another lab, and it came back at 0.2683. That was in the inquest. And they only used the second one. They didn't use the first one at the coroner's inquest. So, I thought they were smearing him,
Well, help me understand something. What difference does it make? What his blood alcohol was?
Yeah, that shouldn't matter. When you're in custody with a policeman, safety, serve and protect should be the number one priority.
Yeah.
I'm coming at it from a different angle, Mac.
I know
I'm wondering if this is just, as we've all encountered, some scheduled revenue stops, whether it's on the road or on the water, and whether he had any good reason to stop and pull him over and take him into custody or not. It doesn't sound to me at this point that he had any, other than wanting the revenue, than any particular good reason.
One of the incentives that they had for Piercy, which has publicly been Randy Henry has testified, and not testified, but been interviewed on. They had a 20-20-20 deal. 20 boating while intoxicated, 20 drug arrests, and 20 DWIs. And Piercy wanted to be the first guy to get that on the lake. Yeah, that's what pretty much was driving this thing. And he was in a hurry. So
Frank?
Remind me, this guy was sheriff, DNR, state trooper. What was he exactly, Piercy?
He was a cross-trained road officer / water patrol guy. He had just been on the boat on the water since summer of 2013, so he had very little experience.
All right, let's take a break. My guest is Craig Ellingson. He is the father of the late Brandon Ellingson. Brandon was a 2012 graduate of Valley High School. He then went on. He was a sophomore at Arizona State, and he died on May 31st, 2014 in the Lake of the Ozarks. There has been an ongoing 17-month inquest, and we still do not have any answers. Why? Why do you think? Could you guess? Malicious? Incompetence? What do you think it could be? We'll talk about that next when we come back live here on The Truth.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Homs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed, fixed raters free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed right or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're going to make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
All right, 22 minutes before the top of the hour on this first day of December in the Lord's year 2015. Tomorrow is, Tom, you're invited. It's the Christmas party for Testify tomorrow.
Okay.
You got the email, didn't you? Maybe you didn't. I don't know.
I don't remember seeing it.
It's tomorrow. It's at Pizza Ranch on 86th there.
Maybe I did see it.
By 8035. And Nathan Thomas is going to come join us. He's the worship leader from Berean Assembly out in Pleasant Hill. Mm-hmm. And he's going to bring his keyboard, and we're going to sing Christmas songs. We're not going to have any testimony. We're going to do prayer and prayer requests, but we're not going to do any testimony. And folks that just want to come along and just have a good old-fashioned sit around the piano and sing some Christmas songs, that's what we're going to do. So it's Testify tomorrow. It's free unless you want to eat, and then it's whatever the buffet price is. But if you don't want to eat, you can come on in and be a part of Testify. We just appreciate that Pizza Ranch does that for us. It's a brand new location, Pizza Ranch, North 86th, basically 86th at Interstate 80 and 35. They're on your way into Johnston, and we look forward to seeing you there. All right. My special guest today is Craig Ellingson. He is the father of Brandon Ellingson, who lost his life on May 31st, 2014 in a boating incident in the Lake of the Ozarks. You know the story. Yeah, it's that one. Yeah, it's that one. I know it doesn't make any sense. I've read the reports. I've read the accounts. It doesn't make sense why we're sitting here on the 1st of December and nothing has been solved. Now, the stuff that you told me off mic, can you say that on mic, what those officers said, or should that be left off the radio?
No, I can say it. It's public record.
Okay, so there's some recordings.
There's recordings that they sent, and the Kansas City Star had posted it, and Piercy Hidd called my son. He called him a little bastard, and Kendall, Captain Kendall at the time, was talking to dispatch, and he knew that I had wanted Brandon out of the water that night. And he said, well, Brandon will be just as dead in the morning as he is right now. And they started giggling. And I thought that was pretty distasteful.
Because they didn't remove his body from the lake until the next day.
That's right. He was underwater for a good day, close to a day.
But yet they had him on sonogram.
They had him on sonogram, had him located. Yeah,
they knew exactly where he was.
Exactly.
So why don't you take him out?
You would think in a big lake like that, with as much manpower that they have, they could get him out it was, it wasn't. It was still somewhat daylight yet. So
okay. Craig and I bet we've talked 6 times in our lifetime. Each of them have been very brief. I don't know if you know this whole story, but Brandon's funeral, I believe, was on a Wednesday.
It was a Friday.
Friday. And
it was actually D-Day, June 6th.
Okay. And I had gotten out of a meeting or something at Hope, and I was getting ready to leave. And I suppose it's 8:30, and the funeral started at 11 maybe? 10 or 11?
10 or 11.
Okay. And Tom, something just told me to stay there. And I'm not trying to claim any supernatural anything. There was just something. I mean, literally, I'd walk towards the door and something would turn me around. And something would turn me around. And I had heard about the case, but I didn't know anything about it. And then I saw Craig. There's nobody in the worship center. Nobody. Probably 9 in the morning. And there's Craig sitting next to the casket, the open casket of Craig, or of Brandon, I'm sorry. And I just felt this overwhelming need to come up and ask if you needed prayer. And you said no, you were fine, which I respected. But it was at that moment that I don't know. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You just know that I'm supposed to be there for a purpose. So I stayed for the whole funeral. Mm-hmm. And what I witnessed was this huge love fest on this young man from people all across the country. No, not Serena, the black, the daughter who sang at the funeral, who played the piano. I think she sang a Norah Jones song. She's one of Reverend Black's kids who now have New Point Church. She was incredible.
Sabrina?
No, Serena, I think. I don't know. She was just incredible. And I remember sitting there at this funeral just going, man, this guy was just absolutely loved. And even though I was aware of the circumstances around his death, you didn't really feel that in that service. It's like everybody put that aside and said, we're going to celebrate this incredible life. Yes, one cut way too short, but yet still celebrate this incredible life of this young man. And when I walked out of there, I was a wreck. But when I walked out of there, I felt like I knew Brandon. And I don't know of a better way to leave a celebration of life. When you walk in, you know nothing. And when you walk out, you seem like you know him.
Yeah, he was loved by a lot of people, and there's a lot of people missing him today.
Still.
Yeah.
And you're one of them.
Exactly.
How's his sister doing? She stood up really tough that day, but man, she misses him a lot because they were like best friends, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry this is difficult to talk about. I appreciate you being here, though.
No, that's fine. I appreciate it.
So then, Tom, you know me, I go to church at like sunrise, and I sit there the whole morning long, and I'm just a social butterfly. And there's Craig every Sunday morning, a little bit before 8 o'clock, or a little bit before 9:15, waiting for those doors to open to go into church. Mm-hmm. And he's there every single, and if you miss a week, it's like you're there the next week, so you don't go, oh, where'd Craig go? Hmm. And I went up and talked to him one day, and I said, how you doing? Good. You're not a man of a lot of words. Mm-hmm. Tell me what it's like to sit in that worship center, worshiping God, knowing that He is almighty and all-powerful, and had He chosen, depending on how you believe, I believe, that God could have saved him. How do you reckon that with your faith?
I'm at peace when I'm in that church. That's where Brandon's funeral was. Pastor Householder did it, and I feel comfortable going in there, and I know he's in a good place now, and I know I'll see him again, and I feel good going in there. So I didn't think I would, but it doesn't bother me a bit. So
in fact, it's comforting.
It is comforting.
Do you get mad at God? Have you gotten mad at God?
I haven't. I read where it was God. He doesn't condone those things, and it wasn't his fault. And Psalm 37 it pretty much sums up what I think of how things are, and people need to read that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Psalm 37. Maybe I'll get it out a little bit later. And
let me ask you, Craig, and of course this is a tough subject, and anybody that's been around a while eventually loses people that are close to them. Very few of us actually lose children, especially in the circumstances that you have, so I can't say that I can relate to your situation. But those that are watching us on the internet, they can see when they go over to you the picture of your son on your sweatshirt.
Yeah.
And it says, Justice for Brandon.
Exactly.
What does Justice for Brandon look like in your mind?
Justice for Brandon, for me, Officer Piercy needs to be held accountable for his gross negligence, and he needs to be punished for what he did. He knew better.
All right.
And
what do you think would be proper justice? What level of punishment? Does it come from the hearings that you're having now? Does it come from, and you haven't, since this has not been decided, we haven't talked about it, but I'm assuming that civil action follows once this chapter is decided. Am I right or wrong?
it's actually going on simultaneously.
Is it?
The
Okay.
criminal's going on. William C., he's the new prosecutor. He's been on this case since Amanda Grellner got off it, and here it is. He was supposed to get back to Senator Grassley on October 1st on what he was doing on the investigation. Here it is 60 days later. We don't have a response from him.
All right, we're going to take our last break, and we'll come back. I'll share a little of Psalm 37 with you and some more from Dad here live.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on Webcast1Live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Whether you're 10, 25, 50, 80 years old and beyond, everyone needs to live within their means. I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America. For almost a quarter of a century, we've helped people of all ages learn to manage their personal finances to benefit them far into the future. When problems arise, we've got the experience you need to make those debt problems go away. Got financial problems? Call Consumer Credit of America.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
All right, 10 minutes before the hour, 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock, Hank, the Bible Answer Man, 1-888. Ask Hank. That's the number to call. And we appreciate if you do that, if you want to ask Hank any questions. Testify tomorrow noon at the Pizza Ranch. Best fried chicken ever. Actually, it's not fried, it's roasted. Pizza Ranch on 86th Street. They're cleared 8035. Our discussion today has been with Craig Ellingson, whose son Brandon died at the Lake of the Ozarks on May 31st, 2014 in a drowning incident. You've heard the story. But for some reason, here we sit 17 months later, and nothing's been decided. And I see Craig in church almost every Sunday, and I can't ever forget you sitting next to that casket. and wondering if that was my son or my daughter. I think the conversations I'd have with God would be, well, I'd probably be disbarred or thrown out of church or something. And when I asked Craig, you know, what keeps him in his faith, have you had an argument with God? Have you blamed God? He says no. And he holds to Psalm 37. Is there any part of Psalm 37 in particular? Because this is a long psalm, and I'm not going to read the whole thing. But basically, it starts out, this is David writing, don't worry about the wicked or envy those who do wrong. For like grass, they soon fade away. Like spring flowers, they soon wither. Trust in the Lord and do good. Then you will live safely in the land and prosper. Take delight in the Lord, and he will give you your heart's desires. Commit everything you do to the Lord. Trust him, and he will help you. He will make your innocence radiate like the dawn, and the justice of your cause will shine like a new day sun. Boy, that is a good psalm. Man, I'm going to mark that and read that again later. So why are we waiting 17 months? I mean, the facts aren't changing. The case is the case.
They're basically, the Missouri Highway Patrol is dragging their feet. They were sanctioned this past month for withholding information on emails that we had requested. And we had done a bunch of depositions this summer, and they have to redo the deposition. So they're coming up here probably in January and February to redo the depositions, to add on, because there's a lot of extra information that we didn't get.
That you now know.
That we now, they're still going through it. So we had like a total of 97,000 emails that they withheld from us, so that we got. So
sounds like the Hillary Clinton scandal out of the State Department, doesn't it?
Yeah, really. So
take them years to get. They just released some more this week.
How do people get away with that, Tom? I mean, the law's the law.
I don't. Some people are above the law. Maybe the State Highway Patrol down in Missouri thinks the same thing the Clintons think, that they're above the law. I don't know.
Now, you said you sold your property on the lake.
Yes, I did.
Are you, and I'm going to use a specific word, are you scared to go down where the Missouri State Patrol could then hurt you or harass you or harm you or worse?
No, I'm not scared. No.
You just, that lake has those memories and never will have anything else.
You know, I don't blame the lake. I blame Tony Piercy for what he did.
Okay. Yeah. And if Tony Piercy was sitting here today, no, never mind. I don't want you to do that. Not with an ongoing case. But I am going to ask you this. What do you want to say to Brandon?
That's tough. Just, I love him, you know, and miss him a lot. So, and hopefully I'll see him again someday.
You will.
I've got, one thing I put on his gravestone was, which is ironic, is John chapter 11, verse 25, which is at, it's on the granite church right next to the cross.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that, so. But.
How do the days get easier? I mean, you're at like 500 days now. Does any day in the morning get easier?
No.
No. Every morning you wake up and you're reminded that he's not there.
Yeah. Yep.
And what happens in the court of law isn't going to change that.
No, it's not. It's just, you know, it's just the faith that I have, that I know you have to have faith and have patience and be a believer. And, you know, it'll work out. So that's what I, you know, believe.
Some good have come out of this. Can you share that with us?
Say that again, sir?
Some good have come out of this. I saw that at the funeral. Here, let me put it this way. I saw a lot of people who loved Brandon.
Yes.
Who will forever more be connected.
I think people realize how fragile life really is. And, you know, somebody can be here today and gone tomorrow. So you really need to appreciate what you have today. And, I think that's what a lot of people learn, and not to be afraid of saying you love somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, and because of your faith, you know this. But, this probably doesn't make you feel any better, and I'm sorry if it offends you, but Brandon is in a better place.
Yes.
He is sitting on Jesus' lap, and they're just shooting the stuff. And my guess is they talked about how Dowling beat Valley, and that was no fun.
Yeah.
And it's a blink of an eye for you and I until you're sitting next to Jesus with Brandon again.
That's right.
And think of all the people that he impacted in 20 years.
Yes.
And I don't know this for a fact, but my guess is there will be children named after his memory between some of these young people that knew him.
Sure.
I know that your faith, when you describe your faith on the radio here today, it should tell people that, I shouldn't worry about that I don't have enough money for Christmas.
That's right.
Or that I just lost my job. Or in my case, I have a son that doesn't talk to me. At least I have a son there.
Yeah.
And yet I look at you and I think, what a blessed man you are to have that type of relationship with Jesus. Because you and your son Brandon are forever together. Right now it's a blink and you can't touch him.
That's right.
But forever together.
Craig, have you ever read the book 90 Minutes in Heaven?
I haven't.
I would recommend it to you. In fact, I wish I had brought a copy. I wasn't even thinking about it. But we had Don Piper on the show. I've hosted him a couple of times
I've got a copy
here.
right over there.
Do you? Okay. Let's get him that, because he talks about that glorious reunion up in heaven. It was Dead for 90 Minutes, hence the name of the book and the movie. Now, it came out this year. 90 Minutes in Heaven sold 7 million copies. But he talks very vividly about that reunion, and I think it would make you feel good to read that book.
You bet. Yeah, thanks.
Craig, I love you. Yeah. God loves you. So many people admire you, and there's a lot of people around. You're a tough guy, but there's a lot of people around who you can collapse into their arms at any minute.
Yeah. No, I just want to thank. There's been so many supportive people, friends and family, and just strangers coming up and saying nice things. And, and I have a great team of attorneys, and everybody's just been very, very, very supportive.
Well, Brandon's already won.
Yeah.
No matter what happens,
that's right.
Brandon has won.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for being here today. Till I see you tomorrow, remember there's somebody you have to forgive. Oh, gosh darn it, I know it's hard. But today, forgive them. Because in Jesus' eyes, as you forgive, you shall be forgiven. See you tomorrow in church.